today, Kunal Bothra as well as Mr. G. Chokalingam. Let me bring on board our first query today, and we have Shailaja who's writing to us asking whether she can buy HCL Tech at the current price for the short term. What's your take, Kunal? Can she buy HCL Tech at current price for the short term? No doubt the company will be reporting its Q3 earnings later today.
See, I think it's far more better and safer to invest in the stock post the event, because when you are heading in when you're straight heading into an event which could be an uncertain event for a stock, and even if it's a large cap name in that sense, why take that chance and risk just as a sake of a bet on a short term time scale just to get a slight edge. The more the clarity in terms of post results, I believe the better could be the chart patterns which can evolve for HCL Tech. So I would suggest maybe wait out for at least a couple of days, because once the market digests the price action post results, I think it's where you probably see trading action resuming into a much more stable manner for HCL Tech. So I would suggest a wait for at least a couple of days before you want to chip into the stock from a medium to long term view.
Mr. Chokalingam, talking about IRCTC, we've got a viewer, Aarti, who bought at levels of 941, and she's wondering whether to hold on with the hope of recovery of her buy price. Stock is currently at 894, or should she book out at this juncture and move to something else?
She can hold on. Valuation comfort is not there, but still one can hold on instead of booking losses, because in any case, it's a long-term growth story. And secondly, tactically, there is an opportunity because the retail float is very low. So therefore, she can hold it for a medium to long term.
Okay, Natarajan wants to know if it's okay to enter Welspun India at current levels. His horizon is about 6 to 9 months. What's your take, Kunal, Welspun India?
It's an attractive chart, even though it's consolidating for itself. But then the recent recovery, the last 2 months of price patterns for Welspun India are a bit encouraging. So stock is about 200 DMA, about 50-day moving average. Would be an interesting buy at current levels. You can look out for targets something around 170, 167 mark over the very near term for the stock.
Okay. We've got a question from Aarti, and this is a short-term query. Kunal, this one's for you. Dhampur Sugar, rather a question between Dhampur Sugar and Minda Industries. Minda, you were pointing out in our last segment, is the best of the Auto Ank pack. For a period of 6 months, which one would you select?
Well, tough one. Both of them are completely different sectors. So if I have to pick and choose, if it's a 6 month kind of a time frame, I would look out for maybe Minda Industries, because the risk reward is in favor now for the stock. Dhampur Sugar and many of the other stocks, they are already going into a momentum breakout. These stocks are trading at fresh, swing highs and weekly highs and lifetime highs for themselves. So that's the only catch with entering into a trade, because if it's a medium term kind of time frame, it's good enough to try and look at the stocks. When these stocks get into a corrective phase, the risk reward is in your favor. The entry price is also good enough, and you buying the stock at a point when there is a time wise correction. So in that aspect, Minda Industries could actually turn out to be a decent bet.
Right. This one is from Krishnamurthy, and has purchased 500 shares of SMS Pharma at 170 rupees per share. Wants to know whether he should hold or sell it for the longer term. Mr. Chokalingam, do you track this particular counter, SMS Pharma? If so, then what should Krishnamurthy do with his current holding of 500 shares purchased at 170 rupees per share?
Yeah, I have looked at it, evaluated this small pharma company. It's trading around 12-13 PE. One can hold on because all these pharma intermediary stocks generally trade anywhere from 17 to 20. So the chance of getting back is the original investment is very high in next 6 months to 1 year. So therefore, he can hold on to SMS Pharma.
Okay, the next one's coming in from Dr. Gopesh from Thrissur, and this one's for you, Kunal. NMDC is the name of the counter. View is being sought for the next 3 months. He's followed your advice and added a few units at 134 range to bring down his cost price to 170 from 185 earlier, and he's holding about 2,200 units. Should he hold on for the next 3 months?
You should definitely look to hold on. I would suggest two tweaks. One of them is try and increase your time horizon a bit more. My sense is that these commodity and metal stocks they are going into a cyclical breakout, but they would probably get into a bit of a pause phase for at least some more time because of the juggling in terms of so many data points, dollar index, etc., which could probably impact the very near term trend. But if you can ride out the near term volatility, I believe the charts prospects for NMDC over the medium to long term could be very exceptional. So I maintain that stance, and the advice which I had given earlier, that if you get the stock back again that 135, 130 odd zone, definitely look to average it out further and try and reduce the cost price as much as you can.
All right, this one is from Joshua, and he wants to know whether he should exit Aurobindo Pharma. He's already holding 350 shares, which he's purchased at 660 rupees per share. What's your take, Kunal? Aurobindo Pharma, no doubt the stock is under pressure today after that Hyderabad unit has got the warning letter from US FDA. But if his buy price is 660 rupees per share, so what should he do?
See, I think there's one thing which is very certain with a stock like Aurobindo Pharma is that even though the chart in price in terms of current levels is very lucrative compared to what it was 12 months back for Aurobindo Pharma, but then the stock is getting hampered with a lot of news flow, and that's getting very consistent. Now the prices can stabilize and get into an uptrend, assuming if the news flow settles down, which is very speculative and can't be forecasted very clearly. I would suggest that to switch from Aurobindo Pharma, given these kind of hindrances towards stock price, and look out for something like Lupin even at current levels, or maybe a DV slab. The stock has gotten to a corrective phase. It has this tendency of getting into 10-15% correction and then starting to look very attractive from a medium to long term perspective. So if you've made money, a short term profit in Aurobindo Pharma, I would suggest a switch to either Lupin at current levels or DV slab from a more medium term to longer term time scale.
All right, the next question coming in from Akshay, and he's asking about Galaxy Surfactants, which he bought at levels of 2,650, Mr. Chokalingam, and therefore he's making some profits. He's wondering whether he should book out, and he's got a perspective of 2 to 3 years. He's asking if we should switch to something like a Privy Speciality or even a Navin Fluorine.
I would suggest to take the profit out now, and the other two companies also you have mentioned equally very costly. Most of these stocks are trading anywhere from 35 to 40 PE on a trailing basis. The chemical stock sector itself is cyclical, market also cyclical. So I would suggest that to book profit and move to some large cap Nifty Sensex stocks temporarily. Ultimately, the wealth is only small cap, but as I mentioned earlier, I am little apprehensive about the small cap space in the next 6 months time horizon. So therefore, the costliest small cap stocks one should book profit and sit on cash.
Right, this one is coming from Vijaya Gauri and has 100 shares of Ease My Trip, which purchased at 100 rupees per share. The company has announced 1:1 bonus issue. So what is the long-term prospect for this particular company? Do you track this one, Mr. Chokalingam? Ease My Trip, what should Vijay do with his holding?
I track all these e-commerce. I have an extremely negative bias on e-commerce, having come from the value investing thinking. I don't find valuation comfort in any of these stocks. I always say that these are the stocks meant for the venture capitalists, not for the retail investors. So I would not hold them. I would, whatever loss, I will book it and sit on cash.
Okay. We've got a question coming in from Srikant. This one's for you as well, Mr. Chokalingam. This is on Tata Motors. He's got at levels of 460, and so therefore he's making a small profit at this juncture. He's asking if we should hold for the long term. What would you say?
One can hold on for a long term because the demerger, as well as I also believe that the automobile sector can improve after 6 months down the line, and Tata Motor could be a beneficiary of that. And also the valuation multiple for entire Tata companies have improved substantially. So therefore you can hold it for medium to long term.
Okay, this one is from Akash, and Akash is wishing everyone happy Makar Sankranti. Happy Makar Sankranti to you as well, Akash, and all of our viewers, especially happy festive season, because all across India we have various festivals that are being celebrated. But let me take his query then. He's saying he has 200 shares of BPCL, which he's purchased at 480 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he should hold or sell. What's your take, Kunal? A lot of uncertainty when it comes to BPCL, the privatization process, what is happening on that particular end. 480 is the buy price of Akash. What should he do?
Yeah, I think looks a bit more dicey because at current levels, with the lack of news flow, you've seen that the trading activity for stocks like BPCL has gone dramatically down for itself. Now try and compare this at a time when the stock was in the thick of news flow, start of 2021. The stock used to be buzzing with a lot of volume activity. Because of the lack of volumes, the prices have also gone into a correction mode. So it's very difficult to anticipate when the news flow would turn out positive, or when there could be a lot of chatter on the street, regarding the stock. So I would probably stay out from, or advise to stay out from these kind of stocks and look out for much more quality names, and the ones which have been looking quite strong from a more medium term to long term perspective and not susceptible to too many news flows. Something like the banking stocks, which you've been highlighting time and again over the past so many weeks. ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, they're classical stocks even at current levels. I would suggest a switch.
Mr. Chokalingam, Tejas Networks is the name of the counter. We've got Prashant from the UAE who's writing in, and he's acquired at 225, so he's making a healthy profit here. He's asking for a long-term fundamental view. 2 to 3 years is what he's looking at from this point. Should he hold on?
In the short term, as the stock goes up, he can keep taking the profit, and hopefully wait for end of this calendar year and to see a meaningful correction in most of the stocks like Tejas, and then he can consider reinvesting for the long term.
Lingam, this one is also for you, and this one is on Paytm. Krishnamurthy is asking whether we can buy Paytm at current market price for the longer term. What's your take? Do you think we can he go ahead and buy Paytm?
As I said earlier, I may be wrong. I have a terrible fear on stocks like Paytm. I think soon it will come to triple digit. I won't pay, I may be biased, but considering the valuation, I always look at the bottom line. If not this year, at least next 2 years, the bottom line should improve and justify the valuation. So I have a fear that it might even slip below 700. So I will not suggest unless he is risk-taking, short-term speculative investors.
Gentlemen, and Mr. Chokalingam, this is specially for you. I think you're familiar with this. It's a rapid fire segment, 2 minutes. We'll be throwing as many questions as possible to you. Do just give your one-line recommendation on the stock if you possibly can. We've got Murli Mohan from Palakkad, who's got 150 shares of Deepak Nitrate, which he purchased at 1,985. Would you suggest a hold for the long term, Mr. Chokalingam?
No, take profit as it keeps rising in phases.
All right, this one is from Abhishek. He has Federal Bank purchased at 90 rupees per share. What sort of a target can he look at for the next 2 months, Kunal?
We'll definitely look to hold, and I think if the stock dips back towards 95, look to average. Targets you can look out for is closer to 110, 115.
Okay, Sudha is asking about Intellect Design Arena at the current market price for the next 1 year. Kunal, would you suggest a fresh entry and if possible target as well?
Entry, current price 750 approximately. Expecting that once the IT stocks and once this stock breaks out, it could hit back towards levels of 855 to 900 over the near to medium term. So 1 year target approximately 850 to 900 range.
Alright, Sapna wants a long-term view, but this one she wants from you, Kunal, saying that she's holding Angel Broking 1,232 rupees per share. Do you think that she can continue to hold on to it?
Definitely yes. It's been a phenomenal stock over the last I think 4 or 5 quarters. I would definitely suggest a hold, and if possible look to average out. The stock has a tendency of coming towards 200 DMA. That's around 1000 levels. That could be a good level to average.
We've got a question on Natco. We've got Manish who's asking for a medium to long term view. Mr. Chokalingam, he bought at levels of 550.
He can hold on for medium to long term. It has got a right range for coming back to the growth momentum.
All right, and with that, we come to the end of the rapid fire segment as well as the query segment. Thank you so much, Kunal, as well as Mr. Chokalingam, for joining us on the show, giving us a take on the auto ancillary space, what can viewers do and which stocks they should look at, as well as resolving our viewer queries. But on that note, we'll slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. But stay tuned. When we come back, we will be coming back with the management of Mindtree, so don't go anywhere.